Hi, my name is Christine Tran, and today I'll be talking about the respiratory system, which is a central feature of my model and one of the three body systems we explore in Stage 3 Science and Technology. The respiratory system is responsible for taking in oxygen from the air that we breathe and removing carbon dioxide from the body. The main organs involved in the respiratory systems are our nose and our mouth, which air enters from and comes out of, our trachea, which are the windpipes that carries air to the lungs, the bronchus, which are the two tubes that branch off the trachea into each lung, our lungs, where oxygen enters the bloodstream and carbon dioxide leaves, and lastly, our diaphragm, which is a dome-shaped muscle under the lungs that helps air move in and out. So this is my model, and in this model I've used a clear plastic bottle that represents our ribcage. This acts as a protective structure for our main organs inside the respiratory system. Inside the bottle are two small balloons, which are our lungs. These balloons are attached to two straws, which represents the bronchi, and these are the tubes that carry air into each lung. The two tubes are connected to one straw, which is our trachea/windpipe. And at the top of the straw are holes, which are our nose and our mouth, while the bottom of the cut-off bottle is a balloon that represents our diaphragm. How this works is when we pull down the diaphragm, we mimic the diaphragm contracting and moving downward. So when we breathe in, our lungs inflate with air, whereas when we let the balloon go, it pushes back up and our diaphragm relaxes, while the lungs deflate. To make it easier to understand, when we inhale, our diaphragm moves down while our lungs expand, and when we exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and our lungs deflate. This simple demonstration gives students a clear, hands-on way to understand the mechanics of breathing. When building this model, it directly links to the key outcomes from the NESTLE Stage 3 Science and Technology Syllabus 2024. This project aligns with the outcome ST3 SCI-01, as it helps students use evidence to understand how their respiratory, circulatory, and digestive systems work together, and how lifestyle choices like our diet, exercise, and air quality can benefit and affect our systems. It also meets the ST3DDT-01 by engaging students in the design process with a plan, build, test, and modify a working model that allows them to visually represent the body and understand how these systems interact. Through this process, students develop problem-solving and critical thinking skills. Additionally, the model addresses ST3CWT-01, as students are required to document their learning through labeled diagrams, journals, and multimodal text, effectively communicating the scientific and technological understanding. Hence, the purpose of constructing a model, students are able to visually learn while making meaningful connections between systems and reflect on how human actions influence health and sustainability. This further promotes conceptual understanding, scientific reasoning, and design thinking. For the summative assessment, there are two components. Part 1, students will be using the prior knowledge gained during our science lessons, where they'll be designing and constructing a three-dimensional model of either the circulatory system or the digestive system. They'll be encouraged to use materials provided in the classroom or sourced from home to bring the model to life. This hands-on task will allow students to apply what they've learned in a tangible and engaging way. To meet the expectation of the task, students must ensure that their model clearly represents the key organs involved in the chosen system. For example, a circulatory system model should include components such as the heart, arteries, veins, and capillaries, while a digestive system model should represent structures like the mouth, esophagus, stomach, and intestines. Each model should be labeled accurately using scientific terminology, and it also must be interactive. This means that students should be able to demonstrate how the system functions, and this could include the removal of parts, visual pathways, or simple mechanics that can illustrate the flow of the blood or the movement of food through the digestive tract. While part 2 of the assignment involves a written report where students will produce a short report that explains how their chosen system works. In this report, they will use appropriate scientific language to describe the function of each organ and how the system operates as a whole. For instance, they might explain how blood circulates through the heart and lungs, or how food is broken down and absorbed through the digestive system. Also, students will be asked to reflect on how lifestyle choices can impact the system they have studied and how these choices can either support or damage their body's ability to function effectively. I have produced a learning sequence throughout the term which leads up to the week of the summative assessment. In week 1, we begin with explicit teaching where students are introduced to the body systems. This lesson will set a foundation by exploring what body systems are, their functions, and why they are essential for human life. In these lessons, students will explore the big question, why do we need body systems to survive? They'll begin by brainstorming what they already know about how their body works and what they're curious to learn about. Through guided discussion and short videos, it will allow students to understand how major body systems such as the circulatory, respiratory, and digestive systems work. Students will also be completing a body map activity where they draw the outline of a human figure and annotate where they think certain organs go, followed by a class discussion comparing ideas. While in week 2, students focus on the structure and function of the respiratory system. Students will learn about the lungs, the trachea, diaphragm, and how oxygen enters the bloodstream. The lesson begins with a video and label diagrams for visual learners. And to further consolidate the learning, students will engage in a hands-on activity where they'll be building a lung model using plastic bottles, balloons, and straws to represent how the diaphragm moves to allow breathing. Week 3, students will be investigating about the circulatory system where they'll be learning about the heart, blood vessels, and the blood's role in oxygen and nutrient transport. Next, they'll explore the digestive system by identifying organs like the stomach, small intestines, and liver. The next lesson for this week involves students collaboratively working in groups where they'll research information about a system they're assigned to. Each group will create a mini poster or a digital slide to share the key facts about their organ functions and interesting questions they found during their inquiry. The teacher will then facilitate a whole class comparison between the systems by leading to a discussion on similarities and differences in how they support the body. In week 4, students focus on the respiratory, circulatory, and digestive systems and how they work together. Students will be introduced to the concept of system interrogation, for example, how oxygen from the lungs is delivered by the heart and used by muscles to digest food. Using a collaborative jigsaw activity, students will be placed into groups called the expert teams, where they are assigned to a body system, and using their findings, they will teach others in sharing teams to help students have a better understanding through their peers' learning. In week 5, students will move into the design phase where they'll be working individually to build a 3D model of either the circulatory or digestive system. They'll plan the model and by sketching designs, listing required materials from home or school, and identifying which organs they will represent. They must ensure the model is interactive by including labels and showing key functions. In this week, students will focus on designing and beginning to build by using craft materials, recycled objects, and their creativity. During this, teacher will provide guidance to ensure students are using the correct scientific language and are making meaningful links to the system functions. While in the last final week of the learning sequence, students will be completing the models and prepared to present them to the class. The presentation will involve the class doing a gallery walk around the students' models while teacher questions the students about their understanding of the chosen system. As previously stated, students will submit a written report about the system for teacher to further assess. The assessment will be based on accuracy, creativity, and the use of scientific language, as well as communication skills. The week will also end with a reflective discussion on what they've learned and enjoyed during the unit. In the learning sequence, 4 key pedagogies are embedded in aims to enhance and engage students in learning. Explicit teaching is used in week 1 to introduce body systems, which will allow students to build essential background knowledge. This will set a strong foundation for deeper learning. Inquiry-based learning is also integrated as students pose meaningful questions and conduct researches to further foster curiosity and engagement. Throughout the term, students will participate in hands-on learning like building lung models and constructing 3D system prototypes in aims of helping students physically engage with abstract concepts. Finally, collaborative learning is also used as students work in group research tasks and jigsaw activities where students become experts and teach their peers. This not only reinforces understanding from their peers, but it also benefits their communication and teamwork skills. The objective to these pedagogies is to engage students in their learning while also providing diverse learning styles to meet students' needs. This unit aligns with outcomes across the English, Mathematics, and PHP Stage 3 syllabuses. In English, students meet outcome EN3 CWT01 by planning, creating, and revising written reports that explain their body system models and using correct grammar, punctuation, and scientific vocabulary. Students also meet the mathematic outcomes of MA3 3DS01 as students visualize, sketch, and construct detailed 3D models of human body systems to strengthen their spatial awareness and design skills. Lastly, the PHP outcome PD3-6 is achieved through class discussions and written reflections, where students explore how lifestyle choices can impact the health of our body by understanding what factors can contribute to it. Furthermore, students develop general capabilities such as personal and social capability through collaborative task and peer teaching. ICT capability is also fostered through digital presentations and research. And lastly, critical and creative thinking is embedded as students engage in problem-solving skills, poses questionings, and using their creativity to design their models. This cross-curricular approach makes learning more meaningful and engaging.